All right, this is section 3.4. This is the homework. All right, and what was it? Page 200. It was actually 201, number 13 to 39. Okay, so let's start off with number 25. Just pay attention, please. So everybody stop what you're doing. A lot of stuff going on. Let's pay attention. Number 25. They give you 2 points, and they ask you to find the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. This is a real basic style problem. This is really important that you understand how to do this type. They give you 2 points, and you have to find the equation of the line. Now, make sure that you read carefully what form they want the equation of a line in. Sometimes they're going to say, I want it in slope-intercept form. Sometimes they're going to say, I want it in point-slope form. This one in particular says slope-intercept. So slope-intercept is what? Y equals mx plus b. It's a weird looking x. Let's try that again. All right, so this is the form that we want it in. Brandon. It's up here. Let's take a look at this. Y equals mx plus b. I need 2 things here. I need to find the slope. What's the other thing? The y-intercept. I got to find both of those things. The first thing that you want to find is the slope. If they give you 2 points, you need to find the slope. So let's do that. Do you remember the formula to find the slope? Change in what? Change in y on top and change in x on the bottom. So the change, I used this example in the other class, and I hadn't thought of this before, but until today. But when you think of the change in something, what does that mean for the change in something? For instance, if you got $1 and you go buy something, I don't know, you can't buy too much for a quarter anymore, but let's say you buy something for a quarter. You give them $1, it costs a quarter. What do you do? What math do you do to figure out your change? You subtract, don't you? So the change in something is doing what? Subtracting, right? To get change from something, you subtract. So this is the change in y, and this is the change in x. Got it? So we subtract. So the y's go on top. -4 is a y, and this -4 is a y. Actually, I didn't want to do that one. Sorry. Well, we can do that. Let's just do this one. -4 minus what? And I went back to white. Let's go back to yellow. -4. So that was the y's. Look at the x's. It's -1 minus 3. Now, yeah, we can just do it like that. So look what happens. That's a plus. -4 plus 4 is 0 over -4. What's 0 over anything? It's 0. So the slope is 0. Do you remember we talked about this the other day? I think it was on Thursday. If you have a slope of 0, remember we were talking about going skiing, right? The slope of 0, what kind of a line is it? Well, they're all straight lines. But it's a what? With a slope of 0. If you're going skiing, is it?
Wait.
It's horizontal. It's horizontal, right? Remember this? I drew the picture of me skiing. Everybody laughed. Okay, right? That's 0 slope. This is 0 slope because you're going 0 miles per hour. Okay, no slope is the up and down one. That's no slope. That does not exist, right? So this is no slope. This is 0 slope. So what kind of line is this going to be? It's going to be a horizontal line. So we could do this. We know it's a horizontal line. So if you look at this line right here, it's a horizontal line. We always write a horizontal line just y equals the number. Look at this. Where does this line go through? It goes through -4 on the y-axis, doesn't it? Both of those points goes through -4. So all you have to do is notice that and just say y equals -4. Does that make sense? Pretty easy. Let's do the other one that came out x equals something. I think that was, what, 27, right? So let's try that one real quick. Let's do it really quick. And you really didn't even have to go through all this. If you would have just looked at this, and say, hey, look, both y's are exactly the same. So if both y's are exactly the same, I'm just going to write y equals -4. So what do you think might be true about 27? This is -3, -2. And this is -3, 4. Look at this. Do you see something that's common? Michael, what do you see? The x's are the same, right? Both x's are the same. This is -3 and this is -3. So that means it's going to be a vertical line. If you were to graph this thing, watch, -3, 2. So -3, 2 would be here. -3, 4 would be up here. Look what kind of line you get. You get a vertical line, don't you? All right, so vertical line is always written x equals something. And where does it go through that x-axis? At -3. So it's really easy. You don't even really have to do, Carol asked this earlier, do you really have to do work for these two? You really don't. All you got to do is look at it and say, the y's are the same. So I just write y equals -4. This one right here, the x's are the same, so what do I write? X equals -3. Okay? That was pretty simple. Let's do one where you have to do a little bit of math. So I think 29 would be a good one. So let's do 29. And it gives you 2 points. It gives you -12, -6. And they give you 8, 9. So here are 2 points. We want to find the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. So first thing I do, as soon as I see slope-intercept form, I write this thing down. If I saw point-slope form, the first thing I would do is write down the formula for point-slope form. Does that make sense? So what am I going to do? I got to find 2 things like I did on the other one. I got to find the slope and I got to find the y-intercept. Okay? By the way, look at this. Does this even have a y-intercept? This green one right here? No, it doesn't. It doesn't cross the y-axis, does it? Because it's vertical. It's a vertical line. It doesn't go through the y-axis at all. So this doesn't even have a y-axis, does it? Or a y-intercept. Okay, this one does. It's at -4, isn't it? All right. So let's go back to this. Let's find the slope first. So let's go through the work and find the slope. It's the change in y or the change in x. So let's subtract the y's. -6 minus 9. That's the y's. Let's subtract the x's. Good. It's -12 minus 8. Let's do the math. That's -15. That's -20. Negative over negative is positive. What goes into both of these? 5 goes into that 3 times, into this 4 times. So what's the slope? It's 3/4. Okay? So the slope is 3/4. That's one thing that we're going to put in for this. Everybody got that? So now what we have to do is we got to find the y-intercept. So we know the slope. Now we got to find the y-intercept. We could do this 2 ways. I'm just going to show you one way right now. We could use the point-slope form if you wanted to. But let's just stick with this and use this thing right here. We already know what the slope is. What did we just find the slope to be? 3/4. Now, there's a couple other things that we know from the information that they gave us. We actually know what the x is and what the y is. So what do? I come over here. This x and y represents any point on our line. Well, do I know any points on our line? Yeah, in fact, I know how many points on our line. No, not 4. 2 of them. This is 1 point, and this is a second point. There's 4 parts to it, but, you know, there's 2 points, okay? So I could use either this point for x and y, or I could use this point for x and y. It doesn't matter. You choose. You pick. Which one would you rather pick? Which one?
9.
Yeah, I'd probably pick the 8, 9. I think that might be a little easier, so let's pick the 8, 9. Now watch, I promise you, if you wanted to, you could pick the -12, -6, put it in here, you'll still get the same exact y-intercept, which is kind of interesting, I think. I mean, I think it's kind of crazy. You take 2 completely different points, you put it in for this, and you still get the same exact value for b. All right, it's pretty interesting. But it's interesting because I could take any point that lies on that line. I could pick any of them. There's an infinite number of points on that line. I could pick any of them. Put that in for x and y, I'm still going to get the same exact y-intercept. That's pretty amazing. So let's put some numbers in here. We said 8 and 9, so x is going to be or 8 is going to be x, and then 9 is going to go in for y. Okay, so what goes in for the y? 9. What goes in for the x? The 8. So let's put it all in there and see what we get. So it's 9 equals what? 3/4. Now it's times what? 8 plus b. Right, I put it over 1 since I'm multiplying by a fraction plus b. So now what am I solving for? I'm solving for b. Let's just do the math. The math is easy on this one. What am I going to do here? 4 goes into 4 once, into 8 twice. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract 6 from both sides, right? Easy math here, isn't it? And that's 3. So I'm pretty much done, pretty much. I just got to put it all together now. So remember, I want to write it y equals mx plus b. I don't want to just say the slope is 3/4 and the y-intercept is 3. I want to put it into one nice equation of a line. All right, so we write it like this. Y equals m, which is 3/4, and then we just put the x here, and then the b. What is the b? Plus 3. And that's the equation of the line. But they also, oh no, they don't ask you to graph this, do they? They don't ask you to graph this. All right, now on the first 2 sections, they did ask you to graph them, but on this one, they don't. But we could if we wanted to. You want to do that just for fun? Let's do it. Look how easy it is. I'm just concerned because I just remember Mrs. Bonsbach telling me, she says, these kids in my Algebra 2 class are just can't graph. They have a simple line and they have no idea what to do with that graph. And I don't want her saying that about you guys. I want you to be able to graph something. So if I give you an equation like this, every single person in here should be able to graph this. Where do we start? With the 3, with the y-intercept. So we come over here on the y-axis. We find out where 3 is and we put a point. And then what's the second thing we do? Rise over run. Do the slope. So you start at that point and we rise 3. 1, 2, 3. And we run 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're here. We rise 3. We run 4. Put another point. What do we do with those 2 points? Connect them. And it's as easy as that. Is there really anything that difficult about graphing that? I don't think so at all. If you know the equation of that line, all right, in slope-intercept form, you should be able to graph it. It doesn't matter what numbers they are. You could find a y-intercept, find the slope, rise, run, put a dot, connect them, and you've got it. So when you get to Algebra 2 next year, and she asks you to graph something like this, you're going to be able to do it, right? Okay, I'm concerned about this. All right, let's do another problem. Let's do number 31. 31 is kind of like what we just finished doing. It's kind of. It's a little bit more complicated, just a little bit. If you look at it, they actually give you a graph, don't they? They don't actually write down the 2 ordered pairs. They actually give you a graph. But they give you 2 points on that line, E and F. Everybody looking at it? Look at point E. Everybody see point E? You actually have to figure out what that ordered pair is. So you look at the graph. How far over, how far up? Look at it. Now, each block is worth 2. Usually you just go over 1, it's 1, but it's not on this one. Anybody looking at the problem in front of them? Come on, talk to me. Act like you're paying attention. All right, forget acting. All right, I'll just give it to you. It's 2, 6. All right, you go over 2, you go up 6. Then point F. If you look at point F, well, it's not down first. Remember, it's x, y, so you got to give it in order. It's 5, what? Negative 4, right. It's 5, negative 4. Okay, that's how you want to say it. It's 5, negative 4. So, even though they didn't come right out and say, here are your 2 points, it's on a graph, right? They put the 2 points there. You got to figure out what those 2 points are. Now this problem is exactly the same as what we just finished doing. If they give you 2 points, you should be able to find the equation of the line. They want it in slope-intercept form, so the first thing I do is write y equals mx plus b, so I know what form I'm using. So now let's go ahead and put the stuff in here. What's the first thing I find? The slope. So let's find the slope. Now, you're just going to notice the work is exactly the same, except the numbers come out not quite as nice looking as what the other problem was. So let's do the slope. Change in y, so it's 6 minus negative 4. And then the change in x on the bottom. It's 2 minus 5. Plus, or minus a negative is plus, so that gives you 10. And this gives you negative 3. So let's write it nice and neat here. Y equals negative 10 thirds. Okay? Now we're not done, are we? We just found one thing. Now what I need to do? Find the y-intercept. How do I find that y-intercept? Let's put some numbers in for x, y, and m, right? So pick one. Michael, go ahead, pick one. 2, 6? Yeah, that's probably the easier one. But you could pick the other one if you wanted to, and it'll come out to the same exact thing. All right, so let's pick this one. So that's our x, and that's our y. So let's put them in. 6 equals m, just found it, negative 10 thirds, times x, which is 2, plus b. Everybody see that? All I did was just plug the stuff in. I plugged in x, plugged in y, plugged in m. And then I got to solve for b. Now this is where it gets a little bit trickier than we did the other problem. If you looked at the other problem, just look at the math. The math was actually kind of easy because the 4 canceled with this 4 and the 4 went into this twice. Gave you nice little whole numbers here, didn't they? This one, it's not exactly as nice, but it's pretty close. For what? Class is over at 38. You still got plenty of time. You got lots of time. So let's take a look. Let's do this. You watching? This is the most complicated part of this problem. So let's pay attention. Let's watch. So here we go. Does Does 3 go in anything on top here? Can I cancel anything out like we did on that other one? No, we can't. So all I got to do is go negative 20 over 3 plus b. Now I have to get rid of this minus 20 over 3, this negative 20 thirds. How do I get rid of that? Don't times it, because this is not being multiplied. It's being added, isn't it? Okay, I know it is. So we don't multiply it, do we? No. What do? It's like this. Watch. If you had something like this, negative 4 plus b. What if you had this? What would you do to get rid of that minus 4? You wouldn't multiply it. You'd add a 4, wouldn't you? Well, what's different about this compared to that? Nothing. Same thing, isn't it? So how do we get rid of this negative 20 over 3? Add it. That's right. You add a 20 over 3. Does that make sense? You saw this right away. Didn't even have to think about it. But when you saw the fraction, it got everybody all messed up. So I just added 20 over 3. If I do that to this side, what? I got to do that to the other side. Everybody see that? Now, here's the problem. I got to add these two things together. Well, look, you learned this back in 4th and 5th grade. Okay, I keep saying that. I don't know what year you learned how to do fractions. I think it's around there. Anybody remember? You guys are a lot closer to that age than I am. So, was it 5th grade you learned how to add fractions? Okay, so watch. Put this over 1. I got to find a common denominator. What's the common denominator with 1 and 3? It's 3, isn't it? Now look, what did I do to 1 to get to 3? 1 times 3, right? So I go 6 times 3 is 18. Look at 18 over 3. Isn't that the same thing as 6? 18 over 3 is exactly the same thing as 6. But now it's got a common denominator, so now I can add. 18 thirds plus 20 thirds is 38 thirds. That's the y-intercept. Now, it's an ugly number, all right, but it's okay. We can have a number like that. Now, don't even make it into a mixed number. Just keep it like this. In fact, the book even writes the answer with that number, okay? If you wanted to make it into a mixed number, it wouldn't be wrong, okay? I wouldn't make it wrong. Don't ever make your slope into a mixed number, though, okay? If you want to take that y-intercept and make it into a mixed number, that's perfectly fine. I just wouldn't bother. So let's put it all together now. Let's go to this other color. Let's put it all together. How are we going to write it in slope-intercept form? Y equals negative 10 thirds, what? X. Got to put the X there, right? And then plus, you're right, plus 38 over 3. And that is your answer. That's the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line, of that line that they gave you. Okay? We took a long time explaining it, but it doesn't take that long to do. First step is to what? Find the slope. We did that. Then you plug the stuff in, right? That's your second step. Plug in, pick one of these points. It doesn't matter which one you pick. All right? Now, don't pick an X from here and a Y from here. That's not going to work. Okay? You can only pick this X and Y or this X and Y. Got it? So I picked the 2 and the 6 to go in here, put the M in there, do the math, get B, put it all together, nice and neat, equation of a line, and you're done. All right? Let's do another problem. Let's look at 37. Let's look at 37. It says write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form again. All right, these are all slope-intercept form. But I'm telling you right now, on the quiz, you're going to have 2 problems. At least 2. Maybe one more. I don't know. At least 2 problems where you're going to have to put it in point-slope form. So make sure you know point-slope form, even though we didn't discuss that too much today. All right. So this one says put it in slope-intercept form, and it passes through this point right here, -7, -4, and it's perpendicular to this line, y equals 1/2 x plus 9. Okay, so watch what we're trying to do. We're trying to get another equation of a line that goes through this point, but it's perpendicular to this line right here. This is another line, isn't it? So, Justin, what do I know about perpendicular, 2 lines that are perpendicular? What's true about their slopes? Okay, they're opposite, what? Reciprocals, negative reciprocals, would I say. So watch this. Just looking at this equation right here, all I got to do is look at this. What is the slope of this line right here? No. This line right here. What's the slope of this line right here? It's 1/2. What is the slope of the line that's perpendicular? It's -2/1, right, or just -2. Everybody see that? Hope you're watching. The slope of this line is 1/2. The slope of the line we want to find is perpendicular to this one, so it's the negative reciprocal. So I take the opposite sign, which would be negative, right? And then I flip the fraction, which would be a 2. So my slope's going to be negative 2. Now look what I have. Now I have the information I need to find the equation of my line. So now let's just do this. This will be the third time we've done this today. All right, so let's do it real quick. We know the slope, we know a point. So I'm going to put it into this formula right here. Everybody got that? So let's put it in here. What is the y I'm going to use? Negative 4. What is the m I'm going to use? Negative 2. That's being multiplied by x. What's my x? Negative 7. All right, and then plus b. And now we just solve this. Now this is nice because there's no fractions. So it's just negative 4 equals 14 plus b. Subtract 14 from both sides. So b is what? Negative 18. Now let's put it all together. So our slope is negative 18. I'm sorry. Our y-intercept is negative 18. Our slope is negative 2. If you put it all together, put it into the equation of a line, it's y equals negative 2x minus 18. And that's your answer right there. It's pretty easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
What if they did this? I could do this on the quiz, all right? What if it said parallel instead of perpendicular? Then what would my slope be? Slope would be the same. It would be 1 over 2. Exactly right. You got it. Does that make sense? So if it said parallel, it's the same slope. If it says perpendicular, it's the negative reciprocal. Hope this is sinking in. Looking at some of your body language, it's definitely not. But some of you guys are doing great. I appreciate your answering questions and playing along with me. Okay, that's good. That's going to be the quiz. It's going to be 10 questions. Numbers 1 through 4 are just going to be find the slope of a line. I'm going to give you 2 points. I'm telling you right now. I'm not telling you what the points are, but right now, number 1 through 4 in the quiz, I'm going to give you 2 points. And you just have to find the slope of the line. We did that a couple times already today, didn't we? So that's 4 problems right there you should get with no problem. Hardly any work at all, right? Subtract the y's, subtract the x's, simplify it, you're done. So 4 problems like that. Then you're going to have at least 1 problem like this, the one we just finished doing. Okay, and you'll have a couple other ones like we did too. I'll give you, we'll have a couple, maybe more than a couple, where I give you 2 points. You have to find the equation of a line. But I'm not always going to ask you for slope-intercept form. What's the other form I could ask for? I could ask for a point-slope form as well, right? So make sure that you know that. We didn't really talk about that too much today, but there's a lesson on it. Look it up. All right, and I may ask you to graph 1 or 2. All right, so make sure you know how to graph these things. If I give you an equation, I might not even give you the equation. I might give you something like this, and you have to graph it. But it'd be easy. Just graph those 2 points. You got it, right? That's it. Okay. Now, I originally had scheduled that we were going to do the next section, 3-5. But since we're having a quiz tomorrow, and there were so many questions in the other class, I decided to postpone 3-5 until the next day. So tomorrow, we're going to take a quiz, and it's going to cover sections 3-3 and 3-4. 3-3 is finding the slope of a line. 3-4 is finding the equation of a line. All right? There's 10 questions, 20 points. Now, as far as the homework is concerned, listen to me. As far as the homework's concerned, I'm going to let you hang on to it for 1 more day. But the reason I want you to do that is so that you can use it to study from. Okay? We've gone over a lot of these questions in class yesterday and in class today. Use it to study from. Don't just throw it away somewhere. Make sure that you have it for tomorrow, though. I'm going to collect it tomorrow. What's that? It was page 200, 13 to 39. See, I wrote it down. See, if you're writing down when I first asked you, you would have written that down. See, that was the homework.